There's one thing the Green Bay Packers have done better than any other team in the NFL, and they've done it with tremendous success. Their secret is patience. In the modern day NFL, any quarterback drafted with any significance is expected to take control of the franchise within weeks of his very first season.
Is it a little scary? Hell yeah. Could he be a disaster? Maybe. Might throw 5 picks in week 1. I don't know.
If he doesn't, he's labeled a slow learner, an overrated talent,
and this Baker Mayfield, yeah, I know he's overrated as hell,
or even a bust. These are just some of the labels that Jordan Love has been stuck with for the last 4 years. But now in 2023, he's proving all the doubters wrong. And I mean, I'd even go as far as to say that he is showing signs that he is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for the next decade.
We got some new, fresh, young blood here. Jordan Love can ball, y'all. Life in Green Bay is going to be pretty cool without Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, the pressure on these young quarterbacks to come right in and start playing is happening all around the league. And now, honestly, it's rare to see any rookie quarterback sit behind a quarterback and learn the offense for a significant amount of time. In 2023, rookie quarterbacks Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson were all drafted in the first 4 picks. All 3 of them had things they needed to learn, offenses to understand, and elements of their game that needed fine-tuning before being ready for the NFL. Each of them had a couple quarterbacks on the roster they were drafted by who could have easily started the year to allow them some time to settle in. And well, as it turned out, all 3 of them ended up starting in week 1 of this season. And honestly, nowadays, it's just the norm. They were just thrown in the deep end and asked to swim. And I mean, there were mixed results with this. Colts owner Jim Irsay believed the best way for his new franchise quarterback, Anthony Richardson, to succeed was to start right away. That's exactly what he did. And he looked good, but took 1 too many hits and was wiped out for the rest of the season. CJ Stroud has been magnificent, but Bryce Young struggled badly all season and took a beating in the process. I mean, honestly, the guy might be traumatized from the beating he took this year, and it's going to take some serious resilience on Bryce Young to get back to that quarterback level he was at Alabama. The 2020 quarterback class was loaded with talent. Joe Burrow had just led perhaps the best season in the history of college football, going undefeated with the LSU Tigers, winning the national championship and the Heisman Trophy, and in doing so, firing himself to the #1 pick out of nowhere. Behind him, Tua Tagovailoa had claimed a national championship at Alabama and consistently been the most accurate pocket passer in college football right up until his hip injury. And then there was Justin Herbert, the gunslinger with the long flowing hair out of Oregon, throwing for maximum yardage and a whole lot of touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had an impressive spell at both Alabama and Oklahoma, but there was one more talent that scouts were trying to figure out. The 5th quarterback on that list was Jordan Love, a 3-star recruit out of Bakersfield, California, who had committed to and played his college football at Utah State University. And honestly, the fact of him playing in the Mountain West, it kind of made it tougher to distinguish really how good Jordan Love was. He hadn't played defenses like Alabama or Notre Dame's. And with that, his production was tarnished because really just he didn't get to play against those elite defenses. The only team who never wavered on him was the Green Bay Packers, a team that already had a future Hall of Famer quarterback in the building in Aaron Rodgers. While in college, Love hadn't received any offers from any major schools around the country coming out of high school, but grew significantly taller and packed on 80 pounds over the course of his high school career and freshman year in college. His new size and weight combination made him far more suitable to the college game, and he quickly went to work at the next level. His 2018 season was the season that garnered national attention when Love led the Utah Aggies to an 11-2 record and a win in the New Mexico Bowl. He was named the MVP of that bowl game, and his 3,527 passing yards that season set a new school record. And at that point, it was kind of seeming like Jordan Love might possibly be a top prospect in that draft. And one team took notice: the Green Bay Packers. While Jordan Love was carving a name for himself at the college level, the Packers were closing out their 3rd straight decade featuring an elite level quarterback destined for the Hall of Fame. Matt LaFleur was hired ahead of the 2019 season, and the Packers went 13-3 before losing to the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Not only had they lost, but the Packers felt a long way off the talent level and ability of the Niners. Aaron Rodgers had been clawing to get back to the Super Bowl since he won wanted in the 2010 season, and some fans believe he's cursed when it comes to the NFC Championship. Rodgers has reached the final NFC stop before heading to the Super Bowl 5 times, but has won that game only once. A testing offseason awaited Rodgers and the Packers after that 2019 season came to a devastating end, but nobody saw the addition of a potential franchise quarterback coming. Packer fans and analysts believed the team was short of talent. Rodgers needed more help, and it was going to be crucial to get him that help in the offseason. Instead, they traded up 4 spots from 30 to 26, sending the Miami Dolphins a 4th-round pick to sweeten the deal. With the 26th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft,
the Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
And as you can imagine, the media frenzy was a complete pandemonium because of this decision.
Just hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. So Jordan Love shows a lot of potential.
We got a new week tomorrow, boys.
I couldn't think
Aaron
of
is so salty.
I couldn't think of a more miserable mentor than Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, they had a Hall of Fame quarterback. They needed wide receivers at the time, not a quarterback. Like, they passed up on the likes of Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, and even T. Higgins at the time. Any one of those 3 wide receivers could have helped the Packers to get over that hump and maybe win the NFC the next year with Aaron Rodgers. But Green Bay had other plans, and at first, nobody really understood it. The Packers GM made a bold move. The lashing he took for doing so was just shocking. I mean, he was labeled a moron, a bum. I even thought, like, what the hell is this guy doing drafting a quarterback when they need talent at the wide receiver spot? And to say the least, Jordan Love really wasn't welcome to Green Bay either. Pretty much the national media took every opportunity they could to scrutinize what he was doing to support the narrative that the Packers had done something horribly wrong. They got the worst draft grades of any team in the 2020 draft, and Jordan Love got the label as the guy they wasted a 1st-round pick on. I mean, and honestly, it's kind of funny to look at some of those comments now and see that the Packers are possibly poised to now be contenders in the NFC for the next decade or so with another Hall of Fame quarterback at the helm. Damn, that sucks to say. But this all was seeming eerily similar to the 2005 NFL draft too. I mean, the Packers, they drafted that kid from Cal. He was free falling in the 1st round, and everybody was kind of wondering why they were taking him. Green Bay were the team that stopped the slide, but fans didn't understand why they'd made the selection, considering the presence of a legendary quarterback and Hall of Famer Brett Favre. Brett Favre was 35 when the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers was 36 when the team drafted Jordan Love. Both situations were orchestrated by different GMs, making it even stranger that it played out the same way both times. In 2005, Ted Thompson had just taken over as the team's GM and used his very first selection in the 1st round of that 2005 draft to draft a quarterback to replace the beloved Brett Favre. Like, I mean, for that to be your first move, that's just a bold move to come out at the gate with. Brian Kutzke was a scout with the Packers at the time, as he had been since 1998, and he must have been taking notes. He would eventually take over from Thompson in 2018 and very clearly embodied some of the philosophies as the team's general manager. 2 years later, he made his own quarterback move, and Jordan Love was set to be the future of the franchise. I mean, literally no franchise knows quarterback success better than the Green Bay Packers franchise. Drafting a Hall of Fame quarterback to succeed another Hall of Fame quarterback, like, that usually never happens. It doesn't happen. Not sometimes it doesn't. It never happens. And having the 2 of them combined for over 30 seasons in your franchise, I mean, it's insanity. I mean, no other team has come close to that success at that position in the NFL. I mean, hell, it's even hard to find one quarterback that's competent enough to run an offense for 1 year. I mean, look at the Saints. We had Derek Carr. Derek Carr was our quarterback. But that's besides the point. Look at the Packers, because they just got another Hall of Fame quarterback, I think. Jordan Love just won his first playoff game in his very first season as a starter. And on that trajectory, he's already ahead of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre at this stage in his career. Favre won his first playoff game in his 2nd season as the Packers starting quarterback. Rodgers didn't win until 2010, the year he went 4-0 in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. By that year, year, Rodgers had been in the league for 5 full seasons, sitting for 3 years before starting in 2008. Jordan Love sat his first 3 years too, but is now ahead of franchise legend Aaron Rodgers with a playoff win under his belt right out of the gate. Matt LaFleur spoke glowingly of Jordan Love, whose path to starting in the NFL has been more complex than 99% of rookie quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Patrick Mahomes waited a season before he took over as the starter in Kansas City, and that felt like a lifetime. Jordan Love had to wait 3 seasons before he had any shot at being the starting quarterback in Green Bay, but sitting behind a first ballot Hall of Famer certainly has its perks. I mean, it's actually insane because Jordan Love honestly has some of the elements you see in Aaron Rodgers' game too. The way he holds himself in the pocket, the way he surveys the field. I mean, hell, even in the game last week against the Cowboys, he threw one pass that looked exactly like an A-Rod type of throw. And I think Aaron Rodgers might have felt that pressure when he was in Green Bay because it pushed him to win an MVP that season that Love was drafted. And then he did it again in 2021. Those years obviously pushed back the need to turn to the young quarterback out of Utah State. And don't get me wrong, of course, when you have Aaron Rodgers winning back-to-back MVPs, he's got to be the starting quarterback. But now that they've turned to the young quarterback out of Utah State, this young Packers team seems primed and ready to compete in the NFC for a long time. Not only did Jordan Love claim his first playoff win in the wildcard round against the Dallas Cowboys, but according to NFL research, the Packers roster was the youngest to win a playoff game in 50 years. There wasn't a single receiver contributing to Jordan Love's success this season older than 24 years old. Christian Watson and Romeo Dubes were playing the most experienced wide receivers this past weekend, and they've only been in the league for 2 years. I mean, hell, the Packers have gone through hell and back to get Jordan Love more receivers than they did for Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. They've been adding guys like Christian Watson, Romeo Dubes, Jaden Reed, and tight end Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft in the last 2 drafts. They seem adamant that if they add the pieces to the offense, Jordan Love can help them win, and he proved it in the 2023 wildcard round against the Cowboys. Matt LaFleur has absolutely no reason to not believe in his young elite quarterback, and they never flinched despite going into the house of the number 2 defense in the NFC. I mean, that defense is completely stacked and looked amazing all year long. Dan Quinn has been coaching the Cowboys up tremendously this year. I mean, he's coached them up so good that he's even going to probably get a head coaching job this offseason. But Jordan Love in that Packers offense made that Dallas Cowboys defense look completely incompetent. I mean, put that into perspective for a moment. This is a quarterback starting his first season as a pro. Now, yes, he's in his 4th year technically, but this was his first year as a starter and getting his first real taste of the NFL. I mean, hell, all his wide receivers are finding their footing in this league too with him. Any early struggles this season came down to a simple lack of experience. Green Bay understood it was going to take time for it all to gel, but now that it has, there's no telling how far this Packers unit will be able to go for years to come. Jordan Love is the real deal. He's got the arm talent, the poise, and the mental understanding to play the position at the very highest level. He's mobile, evades pressure, and throws with supreme accuracy, no matter whether he's being forced out of the pocket or backed up by incoming pressure. Those who threw stones at the Packers for making the selection are now the ones with the eggs on their faces, and there are going to be a lot of tweets being quietly deleted as things play out. Hats off, Jordan Love. You're the real deal.